Hello, YouTube and X. It's your main man BTM here, bringing you back to the BTM Crypto News Network. Thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and super chat. And as always, just trying to give you some XRP updates. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. What's going on with XRP? And if there is any new news currently going on with XRP, as you can see in the headlines, it's a big week coming up for XRP and the XRP Ripple news and updates. So thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hit your main man with a super chat. Just trying to keep the lights on here on the BTM Crypto News Network. So let's start the screen share and see what we can see. So this is Caleb and Brown. Caleb and Brown is the official sponsor for the BTM Crypto News Network. And as you can see, Caleb and Brown does their own just turn that heater off. Hope you guys are staying warm. It's a cold week this week, but things are about to get colder. So make sure you guys hang in there. But Caleb and Brown is a crypto brokerage that gives you 24/7 human support from an expert, a one-on-one crypto brokerage. They also self-custody your crypto. So if you're trying to get on or new to crypto, Caleb and Brown is a good start. In my description, there is a link. You can use my promo code. I think you get a 5% discount, and you also support the channel. So let me know if you guys are using that or not. And let me know what you guys think about that going forward. But let's get to it. This is the crypto bubbles. And as you can see, there is a government shutdown looming. So I think that'll be positive for crypto. Let me know in the comments, you think it helps or hurts crypto? What up, Silver Days? Thanks for joining. Thanks for continuously supporting the channel. So let's get to the bubbles. Monero's up 2.7. AIOZ is up 2%. Polymesh is up 2.5. Flux is up 6.8. Powell's up 2.1. Rid is up 2.3. Nexo is up 1.6. CVX is up 3%. Chrono's up 2.8, which is the crypto.com token. Ton's up 1.9. XNO's up 3.1. HBAR's up 3%. Cardano 88 is up 4.3. Zcash is up 7.9. Zcash is starting to pump again. SQD is up 3.9. Pith is up 3.2. Swarms is up 2.2. Solana's up 2.8. Fetch is up 2.5. Jasmy is up to 1.2. Nero's up 4.4. Ingest is up 3.9. Ethereum is up 2.9. XLM is up 2.2. Hasbro's up 6.4. Gala's up 3%. Ordinai's up 3.1. Algorand's up 5.8. Stronghold is up 2%, down 0.1 on the hour. Up 12.7 for the week. Or down 12.7 for the week. Up 10.3 on the month. Down 57.5 on the year. So still some room to grow there. Ethereum is up 0.3 on the hour. up 2.9 on the day, down 9% for the week, down 0.1 for the month, and down 11.7 on the year, back under 3,000 to 2,930. Arbitron is up 2.1. Tela is up 0.6. Filecoin is up 2.3. Cosmos is up 0.8. ZK is up 6.1. Trump coin's up 1.5. Cubic is up 0.8. Bitcoin Cash is up 1.1. Helium's up 1%. AVAS is up 2.2. Safe is up 4%. Ethereum Classic is up 1.7. Radian's up 2.2. Litecoin's up 3.6. Lynx is up 3.1. ICP's up 3.5. Near's up 1.7. AIXBT's up 2.9. Binance is up 1.2, up 0.3 on the hour, down 5.4 on the week, down up 4.1 on the month, and up 27.7 on the year to $877.02. Tau is up 4.1. Come on, Big Tenzer. Up 1% on the hour, down 7.8 on the week, up 6.6 on the month, and for the year, down 42.6. XCN is up 1.1 on the day, up 1.5 on the hour, down 13.9 on the week, up 37.6 on the month, and down 80.7 on the year. Jupiter is up 2.3 on the day. Venus is unchanged on the day. I'm back over to our favorite cross-border payment. Looks like XRP is up 4.6 on the day, 0.5 on the hour, down 4.5 on the week, up 3.2 on the month, and still down 38.2 on the year to $1.92. So definitely some more room to push up, but looks like things are starting to make a turn for the best. So this is XRP's price to lift to $10 will take time, traders say. XRP may see another sharp rise to above the double-digit price, but similar market setups in 2022 and 2017 pointed to an extended consolidation period before this happened. XRP needs longer accumulation before the rebound. XRP defended the $1.78 to $2 support band that is held since December 2024, as shown in the chart below. The XRP USD pair has bounced 35 to 90% each time it's retested this support base. It can gain as much as another 57% by year end if the setup plays out the same way. Analyst Mickey Bull Crypto says XRP is preparing to lift off, citing a formidable support near the 2021 high at $1.96. This pattern is copying the previous bull run. Analysis Crypto Bull said, referring to XRP's consolidation around its previous all-time high as seen in past cycles. The only difference is time, which makes sense as we need longer accumulation for higher prices, Crypto Bull added. Note that after dropping below the previous highs in 2022, the XRP USD pair oscillated between 30 cents and 70 cents for more than 3 years before breaking out 390% in December 2024. If similar scenarios play out, XRP price consolidation could could consolidate around $2 2021 highs for an extended period before a massive upward breakout. The next impulse will take XRP to $11 and the next wave to $70. What? Please and thank you. XRP is undervalued at $1.90, but for how long? On-chain data also highlights similarities between the current XRP market setup and previous bull cycles. XRP's net unrealized profit loss NUPL indicator has entered the compilation zone red, a position that is typically associated with cycle bottoms. The NUPL measures the difference between the relative unrealized profit and losses of the XRP holders. In previous market cycles, the transition to compilate has coincided with the extended price consolidation periods, as shown in the chart below. The market value to realized value MVRV ratio also supports this consolidation thesis. With the current daily reading of $1.23, significantly lower than the peak of $14.73 in 2017, and 2021 3.9. Metrics XRP is relatively undervalued. The lower the MVRV ratio indicates reduced profit taking pressure and increased potential for sustained price appreciation. Before this happens, XRP's price could consolidate for some time before embarking on a sustained recovery. As Cointelegraph reported, holding at the $1 to $2, $1.80 to $2 have reclaimed the $2.22 could keep XRP's bullish case intact, fueled by latent buying pressure, which is slowly building up future markets. So let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with that or don't agree with that? Jay, what's going on? You know, ZBCN is not on Coinbase. Now on Coinbase. Yeah, I guess we'll do a ZBCN live pretty soon. XRP, what up? Silver Days. So this is XRP news today. ETF outflows hit the XRP as crypto bill delays bite. US XRP spot ETF snapped a 10-day inflow streak as Senate delays tariff risk outweighs on sentiment. Weekly XRP inflows of 40.6 million pressured price, leaving XRP down 4.6 for the week. Despite recent losses, XRP's target $2.50 short term and $3 through $3.66 if legislation advances. Let me check something real quick. XRP has entered another losing streak as US XRP spot ETFs react to delays in crypto legislation and global political risk. The US XRP spot ETF market snapped a 10-week inflow streak as two key events hit sentiment. US President Trump threatened tariffs on 8 European NATO members before withdrawing the threat on reaching an agreement about Greenland. Nevertheless, the initial threat of tariffs triggered a flight to safety, leaving the US XRP spot ETF market in the red for the week. Delays to markup votes on the draft text for the market structure bill added to the negative sentiment. Despite these events, the middle term Medium-term outlook for XRP remains bullish. XRP spot ETF's net flows since launch increased the XRP utility, and expectations of the Senate eventually passing the crypto-friendly legislation remains tailwinds. The U.S. XRP spot ETF market snaps 10-week inflow. The U.S. spot ETF market saw only its second day of net outflows on Tuesday, January 20th, as market reacted to legislation developments in Trump's tariff threats. There was no ETF trading on Monday, January 19th, because of the holiday. Net outflows of 53.32 mil won on January 20th outpaced net inflows of 12.68 mil won from Wednesday through Friday, leaving weekly net outflows of 40.46 million. Critically, the outflows weighed on demand from XRP, leaving the token down 4.23% for the week ending in January 25th, which was last week. Howdy, what up, Phantom Beats? Despite the weekly outflows, 3 consecutive days of net inflows from Wednesday to Friday underscores robust institutional demand for XRP, supporting a bullish short-term to medium-term outlook for the token. Notably, XRP spot outlooks were modest relative to the U.S. Bitcoin spot ETF market, which saw net outflows at 1.23 billion in the reporting week ending in January 23rd. I'm just copying this for the post. And we copy this so I can close these articles out. And we'll start looking at some numbers, and then we'll get to X. So crypto.com is showing the crypto market at 2.96 trillion, up 0.08%. CMC 20, $185.21, up 1.67%. Fear and Greed Index is 29 over to fear, or back in fear. Altcoin season is 29. So we're pulling away from Bitcoin still. And average crypto RSI is 45.08%, moving closer to the middle of oversold and overbought. Bitcoin is currently at 87,967, up 0.56% on the hour and up 0.96 on the day, and down 5.42 on the week. Ethereum is 2,914, up 0.37 on the hour, up 2.64 on the day, down 9.31 on the week. Binance is 876, up 0.55% on the hour, up 1.53 on the day, down 5.43 on the week. XRP is $1.92, up 0.46% on the hour, up 4.72 on the day, and still down 4.78% on the week. So this is CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap is saying XRP is $1.92, up 4.77% on the day. Market cap is 116.4 billion, up 4.77%. 24-hour trading volume is 3.43 billion, up 67%. or 66.93%. So there is definitely some more inflows flowing in. Live Coin Watch has it at $1.91, up 0.05% on the hour, up 4.38% on the day, down 4.94 on the week, up 3.35 on the month, down 28.13 for 90 days, and down 38.91 on the year. So on the XRP radar, escrow is 31.19 billion, 34%. Circulating supply is 65.8 billion to 65.8%. XRP burned is 14.3 million to 0.014. RLUSD is 1.42 billion. Exchanges got 14.2 billion, 14.2%. ETFs and exchange, an index is 786.5 million, 0.78%. DeFi AMM is 226.5 million, 0.226%. Tokenized RWA is 413 million USD, and the treasuries is 520.9 million at 0.521%. So for the exchanges, 14.2 billion, USD value 29.1 billion. Exchanges tracked on 19 platforms. Upbit holds 32.2% at 5.2 billion. Binance holds 16.3% at 2.3 billion. BitThumb holds 1.85% at 1.85 billion at 13%. Uphold is 1.6 billion to 11.6%. BitBank is 574 million at 4%. CoinCheck is 553 million at 3.9%. El Toro is 480 million at 3.4%. Crypto.com 353 million at 2.5%. Coin One 293 at 2.1%. Bitflyer 183 million at 1.3%. Kraken at 119 million at 0.8%. Corbett 117 million at 0.8%. BitGet 112 million at 0.8%. Coinbase 99 million at 0.7%. SBI 66 million at 0.5%. Bitfinex 45 million at 0.3%. Bitstamp 21 million at 0.1%. And CoinPH 459,000 at 0.0. That's interesting. So moving on to the tracker, spot volume today is 13.67 mil won. Leverage volume is 16.65 mil won. Spot ETF for Bitwise is $21.30, down 0.74%. Grayscale is finally back in the green at $36.92, up 0.46%. Total volume today is 2.64 million. Bitwise is 6.09 million on the day. Canary Capital is $20.22 at 0.34%, 2.74 million today's volume. Franklin ETF, Franklin Templeton is up 0.014 at $20.64. Today's volume is 1.77 mil won. Rex Offspray is down 0.98 to $15.63. 614,021 shares is 18.83, down 0.13%. Derivative market, Turcom is down 1.82, down to $9.71. 7.2 million. Volatility is down 1.77 to $5.06 to 5.6 mil won. Volatility shares is $10.93, down 1%. Today's volume 1.8 million. Pro shares is $9.25, down 1.70% to 1.74 mil won. Amplify is $21.54, down 0.65 to 236,000. A lot of volatility shares is pumping for a derivative. So let's go back over to X. Let me check the Twitter feed real quick. So this is need this bull run to tap Zebek in Stronghold big time. I know that's right, brother. I know, preach, brother. Silver Days, what up? What up, Phantom? What up, brother man? What up, Dave? What up, Phantom? Yo, yo, yo. So moving over back to X, make sure you sign up for X to stay current on the news and events. So this is an old video, the truth about XRP, why banks haven't yet using it. This video explains clearly, and the haters will surely hate the fact that the XRP ledger, Ripple, the XRP are built to dominate the global market. Let's play this.
To not what they're saying, but their moves. And ladies and gentlemen, so why aren't Ripple's partners using XRP globally at the moment to settle transactions? Okay. Many people see Ripple's partnerships with major financial institutions, big players, banks, and the entities that actually control the monetary system. And people wonder, okay, if Ripple has all these partners and the technology is so superior and advanced for what it was designed to do, then why isn't XRP already being used everywhere with these financial institutions and big banks? And it's a fair question, but it's important to understand, like any large-scale financial innovation, adoption actually follows a sequence. And that's what I'm about to explain here. So first of all, Ripple's approach actually has been very strategic and deliberate and very disciplined if you pay attention to not what they're saying, but their moves. And that's critical. So their first priority, the first stage was building the architecture, okay? The infrastructure known as the rails. And this was the first priority they had before introducing XRP into global financial systems, into the traditional banking system. So again, Ripple's priority was to build the infrastructure and the rails capable of settling institutional value globally, instantly, efficiently, and really at scale. That was the priority, and that's what they built. They built the XRP ledger, okay? And the XRPL, or XRP ledger, was not built and designed for retail and speculation, although they allow that to enhance liquidity on the network. It was actually designed specifically as a superior solution engineered to handle the movement of trillions of dollars in value globally, securely, okay, cost effectively, okay, at scale. It has to be able to scale up more value, and it has to be fast, so speed. and efficient. Okay, it has to align with the green agenda. Let's be real here. Now, remember, you can't invite global institutions and central banks to transact on something that hasn't already proven to operate flawlessly. Okay, you have to understand that. So that's where Ripple began. They start with building the infrastructure, the rails, the architecture, okay, which is where the value lies in the protocol. And then, of course, they launched the XRPL in 2012. And obviously, they've been working on it way before then. They just decided to launch it in 2012. The second element to their strategy was establishing trust, and this was the strategic integration part, okay? So after building the architecture came the integration and building trust with the right entities and financial institutions that control and oversee monetary policy, like central banks and other big players, banks, payment firms, and other financial networks, okay? The idea here about building these partnerships weren't about forcing the immediate XRP usage. That wasn't their goal here, okay? Their goal was integrating and building trust. They were basically focused on embedding Ripple's technology, the XRPL, and embedding Ripple into the existing financial plumbing. This was their goal. So remember, you can't introduce a new financial standard and a new technology, a disruptive one, overnight. It starts with embedding it into existing systems. This provides reliability, okay? And essentially planting the seed for what comes next in the world as all. Ladies and gentlemen.
So that was just a quick overview for XRP. So this is, remember the moment they said live on CNBC, Ripple is going after Swift? That wasn't talk, that was the line in the sand. Old system versus next gen rails. XRP is too big to fail. Global scale, real utility, institutional firepower. History in the making.
I think 9 billion transactions a day, which is more than all capital. Solana was created. We've had huge positions in Ethereum in the past. We used to be 100% Bitcoin. Something could come out tomorrow.
Is there anything out there, though, that's interesting to you? The reason I ask is I would hope that, Solana was created many years ago. Ethereum was created many years ago. Bitcoin was created many, many years ago.
Yeah.
I would like to think that technology and technologists have come up with better solutions since then.
Well, Solana could do, I think, 9 billion transactions a day, which is more than all capital markets combined. So
right.
It's not obviously need the next thing past Solana.
So you think it just doesn't matter?
Yeah, and there might be other use cases, other like Ripple's going after Swift, Bitcoin's digital gold. There's several different major use cases, but Solana's very good at the performant blockchain. Solana, we've had huge positions in Ethereum in the past. We used to be 100% Bitcoin. Something could come out tomorrow.
Is there anything?
So shout out to XRP official for bringing that back up. So this is, the United States has passed a landmark legislation to phase out the Federal Reserve's FedNow instant payment service, marking a major shift towards building a more advanced national payment system that could integrate technologies like the XRP ledger. So as we've been saying the whole time, the payment processor will be updated. And as they updated, guess who will be involved? Be XRP, Ripple, and a ZBCN, right? With FedNow fading to become updated, we know who the players are that will make this change.
Two more things. The Department of Commerce is going to start issuing its statistics on the blockchain because you are the crypto president, and we are going to put out GDP on the blockchain so people can use the blockchain for data distribution, and then we're going to make that available to the entire government so all of you can do it. We're just ironing out all the details so we can do it. Patents. Two more things.
So as he said, they just got to get the framework there, guys. Once they get all that taken care of and figure out who runs what and who's responsible for what, they will turn this heater back on. They will start rolling out the updates. You know, they have to test, stop, retest, and test some more for there can be for sure the rollout will work. Wow, Radon Bank, 130 billion asset, innovative arm of John Movement signs a MOV with Ripple, cross-border payments, digital asset custody, tokenization, all advancing Saudi's vision of 2030. Reese Merck. Zeed and Ripple partners to bring blockchain innovation to financial services in Saudi Arabia. So as the adoption continues, we should see something happening on our end. Franklin Templeton, head of digital assets, Sandy, drops the truth bomb. XRP holders, true owners of the decentralized XRPL network, just like Ethereum holders own Ethereum. This isn't like buying company stock. Token holders own the blockchain itself. Massive institutional validation for the XRPL.
Franklin Templeton, who owns some of these blockchains, and would Franklin potentially or somebody else have their own blockchain sometime in the future?
Yeah. So the original blockchains, right? So Ethereum and Solana, all these blockchains that I had mentioned previously, Bitcoin as well, right? They were owned by foundations, right? They are not companies. They are set up by foundations. And basically, everyone who owns those tokens is an owner of the blockchain. So if I buy Ethereum and I have Ethereum in my wallet, I am a partial owner of the Ethereum blockchain. Right. So it's a different structure than a company, right? I can buy shares in a company, but the assets are still the company's assets. When I buy tokens of a blockchain, I actually own part of the network, right? So it's a way of owning a network, right? If you think of stocks as a way of owning a company, cryptocurrencies are a way of owning a network. And so everyone, who owns cryptocurrencies owns part of the network of that cryptocurrency.
So as she mentioned, as we already know, right, if you own it, you actually own part of the blockchain. I'm not sure why this is even a surprise for anybody, but I guess they just wanted to make it official that you are buying into the actual blockchain. So let me know what you guys think about that. You think it's real? You think it's cap? Or you think it's just them trying to get more people to buy into the blockchain? So this is major recognition by BYN. They've officially been named one of the Fortune magazine's world's most admired companies for the 29th time. That kind of consistency is in the financial world rare. This is great to see this level of prestige from Ripple's partner that's already playing a massive role in the RLUSD ecosystem. And this is Larry Fink again, up to the freaking madness. BlackRock investors are pulling out of crypto. 14 trillion asset manager BlackRock saw a 356.6 million of client money leave its spot ETF on January 21st. This marks the 6th largest daily outflow in history. This week, or last week, total spot Bitcoin ETF recorded a 1.33 billion in net outflows, the second biggest weekly dump ever. ETF selling removes a key source of spot demand for Bitcoin. So first he said that, then they turn around. BlackRock files for a new Bitcoin ETF. BlackRock has filed for iShares Bitcoin Premium Income ETF, a proposed sequel to its 87 billion IBIT ETF. The product aims to generate monthly income by using a covered call strategy, selling options on Bitcoin futures to earn yield. So again, these guys are going to find ways to make money, guys. They're not going to lose. They've already probably had this set up to begin with. They're going to switch to that. Soon as this one started going down, they already had the next one ready, send the paperwork, and they're probably moving money over to this guy. The question is, when are they going to start their XRP ETF, right? Or are they hedging their bets? So when they do start it, it's already running. The next XRP dump or pump will blow your eyes out. I hope not, Stephanie. I hope not. But wow. Up to $130. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. New Japan's SBI files for dual asset crypto ETF combining Bitcoin and XRP, which is pretty big. And I think there's going to be more of the Bitcoin ETFs doing this as well. So they can join Bitcoin and XRP and continue to sell more ETFs, because we're at the beginning phases of ETFs. There's going to be all kind of weird updates and varieties coming. According to various reports, including CoinDesk, Japan's SBI Group has filed for dual asset crypto ETF combining Bitcoin and XRP in a single regulated product. The Tokyo-based financial giant has previously announced its intent to launch crypto asset to investment trust in ETFs upon regulatory approval from the Financial Services Agency, FCA, in Tokyo. With the latest updates, the company has moved a step closer towards accomplishing its plan. Bullish news for XRP and BTC. ETF flows. Solana spot ETFs saw net inflows last week, while Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP spot ETFs saw huge net outflows. Bitcoin 1.3 billion, Ethereum 611 million, Solana 9.5 million, and XRP 40.6 million. Breaking news. Everything's breaking. Breaking. The Senate will vote on the crypto market structure bill tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Giga bullish for crypto. That's interesting. I wonder why nobody else is talking about this. Update. The SEC and CFTC meeting has been postponed to January 29th. SEC, CFTC, harmonization, U.S. financial leadership in the crypto era. I wonder if this is the same meeting. XRP bull run begins on 126, which is today. XRP is pumping hard now, is it? I guess it is. I see out here XRP. Wait a minute. How's it still $2.91? Up 5%. Might have to check this out on the Trader View. Ripple U.S. Bank license and market structure bill. How 2026 regulatory wins could push XRP to $5. Told you guys there's a lot of big news happening this week, which is weird. I thought it would already start, but we definitely will see some kind of price action move as we keep going forward for XRP. looking at the XRP real quick. Make sure we get spot, because we usually get usually end up getting market cap, which is weird. So for XRP 45-minute chart, it appears RSI is up to 59.3. RSI base moving average is 62.8. And we are building volume on the 45-minute chart, and blue is above red. So it is bullish on the 45-minute, on the 5-minute chart. RSI is 45. RSI base moving average is 49. Histogram is showing the MACD is bearish. We're losing volume on the 5-minute chart. 15-minute chart, we're also bearish, losing volume. Looks like the red candle's coming down a little bit. RSI is 50.3. RSI base moving average is 52.1 on the 15-minute. On the 2-hour, RSI is 55.9. RSI base moving average is 44. And looks like we're bearish on the 2-hour. We're building volume there. Or bullish. The blue is above the red, so we're bullish on the 2-hour. And on the 4-hour, RSI is 51.51. RSI base moving average is 39.5. We're bullish on the 4-hour chart, and we're building volume there as well. So going back over to X, might get a chance to look at this article. Let me know what you guys think the weekly total price for XRP will be. The Senate Clarity Act would explicitly classify XRP as a non-security, removing years of legal uncertainty that kept institutional investors on the sideline. The Clarity Act stalled on January 15th after Coinbase CEO withdrew support over tokenized liquidity bans and DeFi restrictions. Ripple received conditional OCC approval for Ripple National Trust Bank in December 25, and has applied for a Federal Reserve master account, which would let it hold RLUSD reserves directly at the central bank. I told you guys they were building a central reserve for XRP. It was only a matter of time, right? They start the bank, they build a reserve, then they start funding this reserve, and it continues to grow. If both catalysts materialize in 2026, they could trigger a step change in institutional participation and pave the way for XRP to test the $5 to $4 range. If this sounds nuts, but so FI is giving new active investor users up to $1,000 in stock for a limited time, and it takes is a $50 deposit to get started. Two major regulatory dominoes could reshape XRP in 2026. The Digital Asset Market Clarity Act and a crypto market structure bill in the U.S. Senate could finally give XRP clear legal status as a non-security. Separately, Ripple's conditional approval for a national bank charter in its pending application for Federal Reserve access would embed the network into mainstream finance. These developments in the XRP regulatory clarity could unlock institutional adoption. It's been waiting on sidelines for years. With XRP $1.85, the path to $5 runs through both these regulatory milestones. Here's what must happen for Ripple's clarity to translate into XRP's price participation. The Clarity Act aims to define cryptocurrencies are regulated in the U.S. by drawing a clear line between securities and commodities, ending the SEC-CFTC jurisdiction battle, which has plagued XRP's regulation for years. And like we were saying, once this happens, once it's actually clear to what it is, and it's actually defined, the money will flow in, guys, right? The money flows easily. The money flows consistently. For XRP, the key provision declares is not a security by statute. The market structure bill defines network tokens outside of security law, including tokens that serve the principal asset of the U.S. listed exchange traded products. XRP qualifies as a token of the Ripple network, and because of its rising institutional adoption, XRP spot ETFs launched in late 2025 and absorbed over 1.3 billion in the first 50 trading days. This regulatory clarity ends years of uncertainty. XRP sent 2020 to 2025 in SEC litigation. The case concluded in August 2025 when both parties dropped appeals and Ripple settled for $125 million. Far below the SEC's original $2 billion demand, the Clarity Act would codify XRP's non-security status in legal law, putting XRP, Solana, Litecoin, Hedera, Dogecoin, and Chainlink on the same regulatory footing as Bitcoin and Ethereum. Despite broad anticipation, the Clarity Act hit a roadblock in January 26 as the Senate Banking Committee markup scheduled for January 15th was abruptly postponed as Coinbase CEO Brad Armstrong withdrew support for the bill. Armstrong said the revised Senate draft contained too many issues. His concerns included the de facto ban on total tokenized equities, new DeFi restrictions expanding government data access, and regulatory power shift to the CFTC, to the SEC, and the provisions prohibiting crypto firms from paying interest on stablecoin holdings. Senate Banking Committee Chairman Tim Scott acknowledged that unresolved disagreements required more negotiation. The markup has 130 plus proposed amendments still on the table, covering stablecoin yield rules, tokenized stock provisions, and ethic rules for government crypto investments. The bill isn't dead, but the timeline for Ripple's regulatory clarity has stretched. Ripple CEO Brad Gensinghouse still calls the bill a massive step forward. Despite the delays, best case scenario could see the Clarity Act passed by mid 2026. So it went from 2025 to December 2025 to January 2026. Now we're at mid 26, and I guess you guys are right. It's definitely going to be probably December, November 2026 after the midterm election. While prolonged debates could push it further out, potentially past the literally just said this. The 2026 midterms, I literally just freaking said this. And covering stablecoin yields. That's the problem right here. So take a picture, write it down, and screenshot it. This is what's holding us up. The freaking stablecoin yields. The greedy banks want to keep our yields. That's what is slowing down the bill. These guys do not want us to make money. right? They're trying to steal all the yields from the process and keep us held out. So we will see the Clarity Act. What is this? Where is it? Da-da-da-da. Be delayed. Give up our freaking yields. So let me know what you guys think about that. Go ahead and come over to X, like, share, and subscribe to the BTM Crypto News Network. And let's get back to it. Just trying to make some noise here on X real quick. Should have put the article in there. But let me see, where was the article? This guy. Let me add that article real quick and we'll get back to the updates. Sorry, I didn't update this. Really? Didn't add this ahead of time. Let me go back and put this on here. Okay, so back to X. Well, where are we? Did this guy, that guy, this guy. About that, this XRP is pumping now. XRP breakout is happening as we speak. So this is breaking. SBI ledger validator goes down. Japan bond yields hit 30-year high. USD largest collapse in history. US vote on crypto bill tomorrow. Bitcoin reserve in this. Is this a bear market or bull market run in 2026? Definitely have to check that out later. Update crypto market structure bill. Markups pushed to January 26. This isn't delayed. It's positioning. Clear rules. Wait. There will be no government shutdown in the U.S. The risk is off the table. Stability is back. Markets can breathe. Liquidity stays in play. That's weird. What happened to this article I was reading though? That is weird. How do we go from I'm tripping. Clear rules. Institutional green light built for compliant networks win. Spot XRP ETF volume has crossed the 2 billion cumulatively. The steady acceleration since October shows sustained demand and growing institutional participation. Capital is rotating in quietly and consistently. XRP $40 with a market cap of Bitcoin. Okay. Ripple is partnered with the Jeep movement and the innovative arm of 150 billion with the Orion Bank to explore blockchain use cases. Will XRP run 100% in 20 days again? The recent shakeout took us back to the lows of $1.81. XRP is already up 6%, back around $1.91 area. Yes, the dips have been eaten up already. Highlighted a few points on the chart that look rather similar to the structure we're going through right at this moment. If the pattern plays out, we will see a huge pump on our hands. Stay ready, Army. XRP is a ticking time bomb. Breaking news, the Senate Agriculture Committee has rescheduled the markup of the crypto market structure to Tuesday, the 29th. Why is the agriculture scheduling it? That's weird. XRP daily updates. Japan plans to reclassify XRP by 2060 for stringent regulation, enhance investor protections, and aligning with institutional use. XRP ledger surpasses 1 billion. XRP ETFs rapidly attract institutional interest. DCX Technology incorporates XRP into its banking platform to enhance digital asset custody and facilitate enterprise scale payments. Just in, XRP ledger smashes 1 billion on-chain assets. SEC is preparing for a shutdown. Votes on the crypto market structure bill tomorrow at 3. All eyes on XRP. This could be a major move. The reason why XRP is seriously here to stay have finally all come together. 4 of them clear signs that this is not speculation, but surviving as infrastructure. The market is abnormally quiet. Short-term speculation have mostly pulled out. Only solid big players institutional remains. XRP spot ETF operations launch in North America. Pension funds and others can now enter into the earnest and regulatory compliance, perfectly compatible with the ISO 20022 as well. RLUSD debuts, evolving its role. XRP isn't just a bridge anymore. It's evolving into real demand infrastructure that pushes idle bank funding to exclusive use. Momentum building in Japan to clarify regulations. Full-scale influx of institution funds is right around the corner. Right now is the overly quiet final prep period, as not about the price, whether actually used is what will be decisive. XRP has a high chance of becoming the rails for next generation finance. The price is now retesting the yellow trend line from below. Key spot here, $1.96, the next resistance above. If the price extends higher from here, when this entire correction will become far more complex. Massive update. XRP ledger surpassed 1 billion in tokenized assets, cementing its role in global finance. XRP is sitting near support around $1.80. RSI is close to oversold and price is below short-term MAs, bounce or more downside. Market looks indecisive right now. What's your next move on XRP? Buy, hold, or wait? Buy, buy, buy. XRP partners with Jeep. We've read this already. Just in, unconfirmed reports suggest SBI is leveraging XRP with R3 Corni. Gotta check that out. All aboard, destination. XRP price discovery. Breaking news last week, XRP spot ETF saw net outflows of 40.6 mil won, reflecting short term investor rotation despite ongoing adoption and network growth. XRP is all the way up. Big signals for XRP. First was Bitcoin, then Bitcoin plus Ethereum. Now it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP getting ETF attention. XRP is starting to bubble. Institutions follow ETF framework. Liquidity follows institution, and price follows
ETH and Sol. XRP is.
What are the assets outside of Bitcoin? Is it just like, is it kind of, and who decides that? It feels like it all kind of stems from the CME, maybe like CME supports Bitcoin, XRP, and Sol. So therefore that flows into Vanguard. Like how does this, how does that actually flow of decision-making work?
Yeah, I think anything that has an ETF around it can fit into this framework. So first it was Bitcoin, then it was Bitcoin and ETH. Now it's Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. XRP is starting to bubble up around the edges.
And we learned two important facts. One, blockchain is the future for financial institutions as well as AI. And a company who can combine the two will be a superpower out here in the crypto space. One company doing exactly that, of course, is Ripple through G Treasury. So I want to go through a clip about how important AI is going to be and show you the technology that Ripple is using today through G Treasury. Then we're going to get into some clips from Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong. These are very important clips I want to play with you. And as well as a great wealth transfer is coming. This is going to be a jam-packed video. You're going to learn a lot. So let's go through it here on a Sunday. I hope you're having a good weekend. It's always great to see you. Let's get it.
The next generation of blockchain networks, things like Arc, which Circle's building on, there's other new blockchain networks, are actually being designed specifically for agentic compute. They're designed specifically for the financial and economic activity of a world where 3 years, 5 years from now, one, I think, can reasonably expect that there will be billions, literally billions of AI agents conducting economic activity in the world continuously on a continuous basis. They need an economic system. They need a financial system. They need a payment system. There is no other alternative, in my view, other than stablecoins to do that right now, and that can keep up with that pace of technological change. And so it's a critical focus for us, but not just us. There's a lot of other folks that are interested in this and contributing to the technical standards to support this upgrade to our digital economic system.
Did you guys watch any of the conversations happening at Davos? I think, this happens one time a year, and you do have some of the smartest business leaders and central bankers from around the world that get together. I know that I've gone through as much content as I can. And I continue to watch the events, even though they ended days ago. You're always learning little bits about what's going on around the world. And I think it's extremely helpful. Let me know which conversation, got most of your interest, and why did you like that conversation? I'd like to understand that. Most treasury systems force an artificial choice, legacy rails or unproven digital assets. Leading CFOs are waving goodbye to that binary. Ripple and G Treasury combined 40 years of treasury expertise with proven payment infrastructure, serving hundreds of financial institutions. The result, rail agnostic platforms that will work across SWIFT, ACH, wires, and blockchain networks with zero vendor lock. CFOs using this approach will enable 24/7 settlement and cut costs for cross-border payments 60 to 90% while adopting new capabilities and new timelines. And of course, we know how serious G Treasury is and how much money they're going to be able to move per year. 12.5 trillion is a lot of dough. Now let's get into how Ripple is using AI through G Treasury here. So Ripple is quietly weaving AI into several important starts. Actually, you know what? I got to go up here first. I do apologize. G Treasury's agentic AI. Remember, agentic AI. G Smart AI using autonomous agents to forecast cash, surface risk, and recommended actions for treasury teams. And Ripple is wiring that intelligence directly into always-on blockchain liquidity, payments, and FX. So treasuries don't just see insights, they can execute instantly across fiat and digital assets. G Treasury has rolled out G Smart AI, which is described as an AI platform that helps treasury teams discover, infer, reason, and decide across cash, AR, AP, risk, and liquidity modeling. With G Smart Risk Insights, it explicitly labeled as using as agentic AI model that automatically surfaces exposures, explains complex risk positions in plain language, and generates executive-ready summaries as CFOs can decide faster. So giving you the entire picture of what's going on with your full, treasury for your corporation instantaneously, and giving you the ability of what decisions that you can make in that real time. Now, in the past, getting quality information has taken time, and you usually have all of these departments that are working to get you the full picture. Now with AI, you can have that full picture in seconds, and that is what Ripple is doing here. You also saw the IDC 2025-2026 MarketScape, an AI-enabled mid-market treasury and risk management, highlights G Treasury as a leader and emphasizes how agentic AI in their stack eliminates high-volume, low-value work, centralized approvals, and visibility via Clear Connect Gateway and payments hubs, and uses explainable AI on forecasting and anomaly detection. Their AI is built around strong governance, zero trust architecture, interference-only policies, so customer data does not train the models, and strict data sovereignty controls, which is exactly the kind of risk posture large corporations and bank needs. A simple way to view it is G Treasury agents are like a junior treasury analyst that never sleeps, watching cash, FX rates, and variances, and suggesting hedges, reallocations, and funding actions with full audibility. And so how this works, G Smart AI focuses on cash forecasting that learns from historical patterns, it flags anomalies, and improves forecasting accuracy by up to 30% while cutting variance analysis time from hours to minutes, right? Something that took you a very long time to get, now you can get it in a matter of minutes. Agentic capabilities are constrained inside customer-defined boundaries and isolated data sets, so agents act only on the corporate's treasury data and workflows, not some global pool. This is really important. What information is the AI pulling from and using? You want to make sure it's in the company and not pulling something from some other company that has no bearing on what you are doing. The AI isn't just making predictions, it's orchestrating workflows, it's routing approvals via Clear Connect Gateway, centralized payment journeys across APIs and SWIFT, and aligning everything with ISO 20022 payment standards. G Treasury's border TMS gives real-time visibility into cash payments, risk exposure, and debt portfolios, and AI amplifies this by tuning static dashboards into proactive recommendations and alerts. And then where Ripple plugs this in, we talked about G Treasury, so I don't really need to reemphasize and go back into all of that. And then why is this an edge versus the market? AI is natively execution aware. Most treasury AIs today in advisory, forecast, alerts, reports, then humans use separate rails, SWIFT to act. With G Treasury inside Ripple, AI agents sit on top of the stack that includes all of this, a corporate TMS payments hub, blockchain settlement and FX infrastructure, stablecoin, digital asset liquidity, and so much more. Also combining AI, ISO, and blockchain into one treasury UX. That's going to be very important. G Treasury is positioning its platform around ISO 20022 ready payments journey, standardized connectivity via payments hub and Clear Connect gateway. Ripple, for its part, has been in the ISO 20022 aligned infrastructure player for years. We know that they were one of the first working on that.
Aloha. I've been in crypto for a long time. And here's the one thing that I've learned. Real wins don't come from chasing big moves. They come from building systems that work on their own. Most people have their money scattered everywhere. A bank account here, a brokerage account there, and crypto on all kinds of platforms. Every payday turns into a chore, moving funds around, deciding where everything should go, and rethinking the plan you made last month. I got tired of that. With Uphold, I can have my paycheck deposited directly into the platform. That means my money goes straight where my assets already live. No middleman, no manual transfers. And then 3 says AI plus 24/7 capital activation. Kind of a little bit of what we talked about. I don't need to kind of reread that to you. Distribution and stickiness. G Treasury already viewed as one of the top choices when large corporates evaluate TMS platforms, specifically praised for its modularity and adaptability rather than forcing all or nothing adoption. And I Invent 2025, Ripple engineers presented an automated multitask agent system built on Amazon Bedrock Agent Core and the Strands agent framework to process 30 to 50 gig logs per day in minutes instead of hours. The system uses specialized agents plus a conversational UI so internal teams can investigate XRPL incidents, correlate CloudWatch and open search logs and code section for triage to fix issues faster. They also describe using a re-ranking model in the retrieval pipeline. Agents pull a broad chunk of knowledge-based data, then a ranker scores and reorders it before sending it to the most relevant results to the LLM. And of course, we talked a little bit about, all of the benefits around AI, but I just want to point out that Ripple definitely is one of the top companies here. And what happens to banks that don't adopt these technologies? Banks and institutions that do not adopt blockchain or compatible tokenization in real time will not disappear overnight, but they will slowly lose speed, margin, and relevance as markets, regulators, and customers move towards tokenized financial infrastructure. Non-adopters will face several structural disadvantages compared to peers that integrate blockchain rails into payment and securities and treasury flows, higher operator costs, and slower settlement because legacy back offices remain batch-based, manual, and reconciliation heavy, while tokenized systems compress settlement windows and reduce intermediaries. Margin compression as competitors use DLT to strip out fees, shrink error rates, and automate compliance and lifecycle events via smart contract logic. Loss of top-tier clients when corporates and asset managers increasingly expect 24/7 liquidity. So the banks that don't adopt the technology will lose customers at a higher rate of speed. They will go to where the technology is best. You want to be able to use your money anytime, anywhere. And when that money is not being used for payments or whatever it is that you're going to use that money for, you want to be able to earn yield against it. Paul Barron put out a great thing about Ripple maybe partnering with Ondo and what that could do. And, the trillions of dollars of track capital and Nostro Vostro monies, there is a partnership to be made there where banks could start earning yield, 3, 4, 5% yield on that money that they wouldn't have been able to earn yield on before. And that is a huge advantage. Reduce strategic leverage in large platforms, global banks, big tech, major fintechs, consolidate liquidity and flows on their own tokenized stacks, and smaller non-integrated banks become price takers or simple correspondence. And so just interesting to see what happens if banks don't do it, but I think we can see that how important it is. All right, I want to get into these clips here. Let's play it.
Of the bank CEOs that I've met with here, most of them are actually very into crypto. They're starting to integrate it. I met with one of the top 10 global banks in the world yesterday, and the CEO told me crypto is my #1 priority. We view that this is existential.
#1.
We're all in. We're going to put all.
Why is it existential for them? Why
because
do you think?
They're seeing it's like when the internet came around, and you had Amazon competing with Barnes and Noble, or you had blogs competing with New York Times in print, right?
Yes.
And so anytime there's always change happening in the world, and you can think of it as an opportunity or you can think of it as a threat and bury your head in the sand and pretend it's not happening. But The reality is that crypto is massive. Like something like 500 million people have used it globally. Bitcoin was the best performing asset class of the last decade. The largest financial institutions of the world are now integrating this. And so at this point, I think it's foolish to pretend that this isn't happening. Yeah. And we also, by the way, have the Genius Act, the stablecoin bill is now passed into law. So we're not going to undo that. That is the law of the land. Like Congress just put that into law.
All right, another clip here.
One of the top 10 global banks in the world yesterday, and the CEO told me crypto is my number one priority. We view that.
Excuse me. Here we go.
So it's an important political issue. There's a huge base there's like 52 million Americans who've used crypto now.
Right.
And they want to see clear rules. They want to see this, get better financial services in the United States.
I was thinking on the way over here how you've really struggled to work with regulators over the last decade. I remember under the Biden administration, the 46th administration, you went to DC and were like, I'm here. I would love to talk to you. And they were like, yeah, we don't want to talk to you. Now, some people might have varying feelings about Donald J. Trump, our 47th president. But one thing he has nailed is interfacing with the business community and taking regulation and creating a legal path for crypto specifically very seriously. How's the last year? How have things changed for you in the last year?
Yeah, well, I know you like to call balls and strikes, and I think just looking at it objectively, the Biden administration really tried to unlawfully kill this industry in America, from my point of view. And Donald J. Trump, you got to give him credit. I mean, he campaigned on this idea of making the United States the crypto capital of the world. He's kept his promises. He's leaned in and tried to get.
So love him or hate him, guys, he is pushing crypto forward. But at this point, I think anybody would be pushing it forward. What up, Brandon? Hello, everyone. Ripple is XRP is X liquidity when it comes to retail. The internet value will be the XRUSD, not XRP. You better know the difference. Thanks for that update, and you are right there. So I guess people will sell the XRP and see what is going on with the RLUSD, although RSUSD is a stable coin. So I don't know that there will be much value in that. But this is moving on to Jungle Inc. Crypto. XRP, 50 global banks just got the last mile connection. Massive EU license news.
A big way, new all-time highs. Washington, their annual dance with the shutdown. Will this be a record setter? Ripple, they're quietly securing the high ground. In Europe, the green lights, they're not flashing, man. They are locked in. And this isn't hype. It's a massive rotation of capital into infrastructure that's actually ready to perform now. RLUSD, it's scaling, institutional adoption, hitting a point of no return. There is no going back from this. And the new banking integrations, they're going live. We aren't just looking at a recovery. We're looking at a system designed for this exact environment. Tonight, we're going to go through all of it, try to connect the dots. Let's start out with this. And this is huge here. Ripple's European expansion, it's unstoppable. Are you looking at everything that's going on here? Following their massive legal victory here in the U.S., Ripple is now securing the regulatory green light across Europe. The malfunctioning traffic signals, they're turning green now for institutional capital, and it's flowing in. Just a short breakdown here. We have the UK FCA approval on January 9th. We have Luxembourg CSSF approval on January 14th. This is a green light given to Ripple preliminarily. And the big picture, Ripple now holds 75 licenses globally, while others, they're waiting for full clarity. They're waiting to get after it. Ripple is building the compliant infrastructure that will move the next wave of institutional wealth. Where are they going to want to put their money? Those things that are compliant, those things that are proven, those things that work here. Now, major Ripple adoption update. We have officially renewed its custody partnership in Turkey, and they've grown from 14,000 early adopters in late 2024 to now over a million users. This is what scaling with blockchain should be like. Assets that are supported, XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. The holy trinity of crypto here. Turkey's second largest private bank is partnered here. And the tech, Ripple, it's institutional grade custody. That's what it's all about here. You see this little graphic I made. The wave is getting bigger and it's global. It's Europe. Here we are in Turkey. It is all over the place. Now, right now, what are we facing here? There's four real stressors here that are scaring people in a big way. Japan's bond market. The Japanese government bond yield has spiked, sending shockwaves to the global fixed income market as investors reprice what was once the world's most stable market. Risk assets everywhere are feeling the heat. Gold also signaling this flight to safety, trading near its record highs, $5,000 an ounce. Has that been a big trade there? This move reflects a deep-seated lack of confidence across bonds. People are looking at all U.S. bonds, Japanese bonds, and people are going to go the gold route right now. And I also wrote an article the other day. It's not just how much money's flowing in, but for years, central banks and nation states have been stocking up on gold. There's just not a lot of supply there. That's why you're seeing precious metals really move very quickly here. Now, we have this is a big one. U.S. fiscal clock is ticking. The looming threat. Are we going to go back into another government shutdown? And if we do, is it going to be another record setter? Now, my buddy Billy, the XRP cowboy, before we started this year, he told me it's going to come down to it. Everyone's going to panic. Everyone's going to assume this is going to be another record setter, and either it won't happen at all, or it'll be very short. We'll see how that plays out. There's a lot at play. This is an election year. We will see. And lastly, of course, we're all watching this. Geopolitical risk is rising. Of course, U.S. sending a lot of military force. Everything that's going on in Iran. Will something bigger break out in the Middle East? Investors, they're not buying the dips right now. They're starting to rotate into safety, but it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much to halt that kind of investing. And everyone comes right back to those risk assets, tech companies, AI, cryptocurrencies. And I think it is going to happen. But make no mistake, these are all things we got to deal with right now, and we're going to have to clear. Hopefully it happens in the first quarter of this year. Ripple at Davos. The production era has begun. Ripple's leadership just laid a massive vision for 2026 at the World Economic Forum. Brad Garlinghouse, he's calling for all-time highs. He's looking at this list, Japanese bonds, U.S. shutdown, geopolitical risk, and he's saying, no, we're going to all-time highs this year. In a fresh CNBC interview, Ripple CEO went on the record. He expects the crypto market to hit all-time highs. His Bitcoin targets just last year was 180,000. If that happens, everything else will gap up. We haven't seen a run yet in altcoins. And when that happens, man, it is going to be epic. The catalyst, a massive sea of change in Wall Street, engagement driven by U.S. regulatory clarity. We got the Genius Act. We need the Clarity Act, and I think we're going to get it. Now, if we start shutting down, and it gets too far in the year, it ain't going to happen, and it may not happen for a long time, if ever. But I believe there's so much at stake here. Banks want this. All your brokerages want this. They all want to go on chain. It's going to happen. Everyone's incentivized here to make a deal. Now, Monica Long says 50% of 500 companies by this year end will have an official and formalized digital asset strategy. They're all going to start adopting this technology. That is mass adoption, and that's going to move values here as we go forward. Really interesting. I put this up on X. Watch it if you have not yet, but it's an interview with Brian Armstrong of Coinbase. And what he's saying is the old way of running a company is dead here. Brian Armstrong just revealed he's using AI agents to help him run Coinbase, and it's a glimpse into the future here. One of the most interesting things is real-time monitoring. Basically, his agents are looking at all the Slack messages, all the communications and email, everything in company. And he doesn't have to wait till he meets with the team leader or till they do some quarterly review to go, oh no, we got a problem, we're running into issues. He's getting alerted in real time, like, hey, this department's arguing with this. We have this issue that needs to be resolved. He is literally being informed in real time about everything about his company. Rapid D framework at Coinbase AI has a seat at the decision table. Their Rapid D system uses agents to debate strategy, challenge assumptions, and probe for weaknesses here. Sometimes it's what you don't know that gets you in trouble. Something like this can really point that kind of stuff out. Now, CEO coaching. He's not just telling the AI what to do. He's asking the AI, what should I be thinking about? what am I doing wrong? And the AI will look at it. His different agents will say, well, you want to spend 20% of your time on this, but it's eating up 35% of your time. You're not being efficient. You're not doing this. The AI is coaching him to be a better CEO. We'll do the same for workers and everything on managers all the way down the line. This is a big deal. Lastly, how important this is to Coinbase. Adapt or exit. He made a mandate. Learn AI coding in 7 days or you are out. Currently, that company is doing 1/3 of all its code. It's AI generated right now, and they're headed for 50%, as is much of the industry. We've come a long ways in a very short amount of time, but the world is changing drastically. And remember this, these AIs, they're going to need a monetary system, and that is likely going to be the blockchain. What blockchain can meet the needs of the future, making millions of little transactions all day long, 24/7, 365, autonomous? We're going to need payment systems for these artificial intelligence agents, and it ain't going to be Bank of America or Wells Fargo or any of your traditional TradFi systems. They cannot do millions of little tiny micropayments all over the place. Blockchain is what's going to actually meet that demand. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please.
So shout out to Jungle Inc. Moving forward, this is bad week for XRP holders. Breaking XRP news. Guru Watcher just in. U.S. Tucker Carlson suggests Bitcoin could replace the U.S. dollar as a global reserve currency. Interesting. The puppet starts singing. It looks like we are very close this time. OWS, what's going on? OWS, what up? Days. Brian Armstrong, we've set up an independent advisory board on quantum computing and blockchain. Interesting. This kind of got people shook though. He's cooking it again. Pay attention. So what do you think Brian Armstrong has cooking for quantum computing? A lot of people are nervous about quantum computing, but we will see how that affects blockchain. BTM, what up? OSW. Guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe and super chat. Just trying to keep the lights on here on the BTM Crypto News Network. Somebody mentioned the super chat might not be working. So, of course, at the bottom, you can donate to the Cash App. But let me know, and we're going over to Austin. Let's see what Austin has to say.
For us with XRP. In fact, I'm sure you're aware right now, XRP is up 4+%, guys, and the rest of the market not doing overly great. XRP is definitely running harder than everything else. So I asked CoinMarketCap's AI engine, kind of say, why is XRP priced today? And there's a couple interesting points here. So we have a strategic partnership announcement. Ripple's partnered with GEAL, Riyadh Bank's innovation arm, to advance Saudi Arabia's finance infrastructure using blockchain. Big deal. Okay. They don't just give that out like, oh, here you go. That again is another check in the box as far as Ripple/XRP, the technology, what it really does from a utility standpoint to solve real world banking problems, things of that nature. Okay. And I do think this is true. Deep undervaluation attracting buyers. I think that XRP has definitely been beaten down. On-chain data shows XRP 30-day MVRV at -5.7%, signaling it's deeply undervalued and presenting a lower risk entry. Again, if you're looking at buying XRP or any crypto, you have to ask yourself, what's your investment horizon? Are you wanting to buy that asset, XRP in this case, and hold it for 60, 90 days, a year, 2 years, whatever it may be? I'm a firm believer, and I am on record saying that I think XRP is going to 5x, 10x, 20x in the next year plus as we roll down from that standpoint. Okay, so that's the good news. Okay, so right now we've got some good news. Now, the title of the video is "We've got a bad week ahead," and I need to make you aware of that. Okay, so this is a really good synopsis coming up from the Kobayashi letter over on X. I watch their stuff all the time and am acutely in tune with their content because it is a lot of market-driven analytic points that you need to be aware of. And here we go. Oh, so markets are reacting to the 100% Canada tariff threat. If you don't know what this is, so this is this week, guys. This is what I'm saying. This is this week. I think that this one's kind of gone away. There was a news breaking that Canada was working on a deal with China to allow China to ship all of the Chinese goods into Canada, and then they were going to work out a deal to get them into the United States, essentially bypassing United States shipping ports, right? And I think that pretty much is gone away. President Trump threatened 100% Canada tariff, and then immediately Canada's like, we're not doing anything. We're not going to do that, that kind of deal. So I think that's one's kind of done. This one's spooky. We have, in the last 24 hours, we have jumped from a 10% chance of a government shutdown now to a 75 to 80+% chance right now of a government shutdown. We all know what happened. The last time we went through this government shutdown, it was brutal, and it had a massive, massive impact. I think in Bitcoin alone went down 29% in that period of time. XRP went down dramatically. Now, when the government shutdown, ended, the assets reversed back. But here's the concern: this government shutdown is completely centered around, as other things, but a big central component of this is the funding of Homeland Security and ICE. And if you look politically, this is a politically charged situation where the Republicans are not going to give in, the Democrats are not going to give, and so it looks like this is really going to go as far as meaning the government's going to shut down over this, because neither side wants to give an inch on this issue. Okay, and a government shutdown for crypto is going to be brutal. It will. Okay, so we're possibly going to see. We're going to see something play out with that this week. Okay. So meanwhile, consumer confidence is a report coming out tomorrow, Tuesday. We've got the federal interest rate decision at press conference on Wednesday. I think that we are going to see the Fed is going to hold the rate steady. I think they should drop them, personally, in my opinion. Right here, it looks like they're set to hold the rates steady there for that. Which again, I don't think is going to help. It's that's really not going to help crypto. We need those interest rates to reduce. We got big earnings announcements, which are on the tech side, but in a positive note, if we have any misses on that side, it could cause a cascading some type of a capital rotation event where we see capital rotate. And we got PPI inflation coming in on Friday. Okay, so a big week, overriding kind of other variables. We've still got tensions in the Middle East. Latest report I'm hearing is that we've got an armada. Good word, an armada of naval ships heading into that region right now because of the unrest going on with Iran and things like that. Look, this is a situation, guys, where I think we've got a lot of risk on the table. Again, you have to kind of look at your investment horizons. You look at your goals, your objectives. If you have bought your XRP and you're holding your XRP and you're like, hey, I'm not going to sell it for a year, 2, 3, 4 from now, then you're fine. And you might look at this as opportunities to buy, again, if you have capital, if you want to kind of DCA in kind of that kind of scenario. Yeah, that's where we're at, guys. And so I just needed to kind of let you know that this could shape up to be a bad week for XRP holders, for crypto.
So what do you think? Do you think he has a point there, or is he just talking? Because I thought I saw something about the government pass the bill to refund, or they did actually vote to refund the government. I have to look that up shortly. This is Stephanus Crypto. Let's see what he has to say.
I want to show you one specific thing right now that gives us the biggest clue into what's coming next for XRP. I spoke about this specific thing a few times here and there on the channel. No one really paid attention to it, but it is really, really important, guys, what I'm going to show you right now. It's not what you expect. Definitely watch this video until the end. And by the way, look at this incredible view right now. I'm here in one of the Spanish islands. I'm on a hike, but that of course doesn't hold me back to make these updates whenever it is necessary. Don't forget to hit the like button if you're still here, if you appreciate the content, if you appreciate
What up, Al? What's going on, fam?
the view. Let's get into it. Okay guys, this is the XRP to gold ratio on the weekly time frame. So this is not against the US dollar, but this is XRP basically priced in gold. Now, why is this chart super important and maybe even the most important chart to look at right now? Well, that's because whenever XRP bottoms versus gold, usually also bottoms versus the US dollar. So by looking at XRP priced in gold, we can basically get a very big clue into what is about to happen for XRP versus the US dollar. Now, down below we have the RSI indicator on the weekly time frame, and you can see that whenever this RSI hits oversold, so I would say below 32 or so at this horizontal green area, that usually coincides with the market bottom, not just against gold, but also, as I said, against the US dollar. Now, if you look at the left hand side of the chart, that actually happened in 2020. So once again, the RSI hit oversold here on the weekly, and that was the exact low for XRP versus gold and also versus the US dollar. And XRP basically outperformed gold in that specific bull run by 800%, and it outperformed the dollar even more. Now, fast forward also here in 2022 around June, XRP bottomed here against gold, so we went deeply into oversold on the RSI. And we also bottomed priced in gold and also priced in the US dollar. Also in 2024, as you can see, we also hit oversold. So XRP outperformed gold by 520%, and it outperformed the dollar even more. Now, what is important right now, guys, is that XRP once again here versus gold hit oversold on the weekly time frame on the RSI. So the big question right now is this the bottom against gold, and is this the bottom against the US dollar? Well, I can tell you for certain that it is. Now, historically, and also in terms of a risk-reward ratio, we could be at or very close to the market bottom against gold and against the US dollar. So this is definitely one of the most, if not the most important chart to look at right now, if you want to get a clue into what's coming next for XRP and possible for other cryptocurrencies as well. Now, before I talk about this chart, guys, if you're looking for a reliable exchange to use, then I would highly recommend the Phoenix exchange. Phoenix is a partner of the channel. You can find the link down below in today's video description, and they're currently offering big sign-up bonuses to my audience. Another huge benefit from my referral link is that your trading fees, XRP interested in the video description. Now, the last chart that I want to show you here is XRP on the weekly time frame against the dollar. And as I notified you in yesterday's video, XRP unfortunately broke below the EMA ribbons on the weekly time frame, which is of course a strong sign of bearish momentum. So in order for me to confirm that the short-term trend has flipped back bullish, back to the upside, XRP would need to break $2.26, because that is actually the upper line here of the EMA ribbon. So if we break $2.26, which is still a little bit far away from the current price, but if we do that, then that could be strong confirmation that the trend has shifted from bearish into bullish here in the immediate short term. So that is the current level to watch right now. That was it, guys, for today's XRP analysis.
So like everyone else is saying, we're still waiting to hear back from the government. Moving forward, this is holding 1,000 XRP maybe enough. Is holding 1,000 XRP maybe enough? They can revalue gold. Why can't XRP have a set price? That's weird. Let's check the common sense crypto real quick, and then I guess we will start the wrap up. Then this is, are you ready to be rich? We'll hit that one as well. And I want to see what he says about the $1,000 or 1,000 XRP.
Overtime. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel. As with you always, this is Rich doing another video today on XRP. So I hope you're all having a wonderful day today, wherever you are in this great world. We're going to talk about XRP. And I got to start with this. Jay Claver says, is 20,000 XRP enough? If XRP hits $100, that's $2 million. A 5% return is $100K a year. If XRP hits $1,000, that's $20 million. A 5% return is $1 million per year. And Time Traveler says it's going way higher than that. Here's the way I look at it. Don't stress on this. If you want a goal that you should be able to achieve over time, hold 1,000 XRP, because most people are already telling you it's going to $1,000. So then you would be a millionaire. But the narrative always was that XRP is going to 10K. So that 1,000 XRP would then be worth $10 million. But it all comes down to how long you're willing to hold it, and also your lifestyle as well. I see people in the crypto space saying if they don't walk away with at least $50 million, then they can't retire. Some people live way beyond their means. Most people would be happy if they got to $100,000 during this cycle. That's life-changing for most people. $25,000 is life-changing for most people. But to try to go out there and achieve 20,000 XRP, that's absolutely ridiculous when the price is sitting around $2. Never forget your research. You know you are in the right lane. Keep it XRP. XRP, keep it. Don't be this guy. And you see, no thank you, I want to stay poor. Whenever I talk to someone new about getting into XRP, I'm explaining how it's going to move anything of value from point A to point B. And they're like, oh, I don't think that's for me. It's like, oh, so you don't like to make money. I mean, how hard is it to just put some money into a cryptocurrency, forget about it, come back in a couple of months or a couple of weeks, look at it every once in a while, and see how much money you're making just by buying something and holding it for a period of time? It's literally that simple. But everybody always has an excuse. But these are going to be the same people that hate you once you get life-changing money from your investment. They all have the opportunity to buy it, but they don't see the value in it until someone else gets rich off of it first. There's people right now saying XRP is going back down under 50 cents. It's not going back under 50 cents. You got to look at dips when they happen and take advantage of those dips. That's the way I look at it. Gold has overtaken the US dollar as the largest global reserve asset. We knew this was going to happen because the dollar keeps losing more and more value year over year. But this is what people in crypto are rushing to sell into. It's like, don't people realize inflation continues to rise? I mean, even when they tell you inflation is coming down, I don't think they're going to the grocery store, because the grocery store is telling you something totally different. Why would you rush to sell something that goes up in value for something that continues to lose value? I don't understand the logic in that. They literally did. In 1933, FDR issued Executive Order 6102, making it illegal for U.S. citizens to own gold coins or bullion. To turn it all into the government or face 10 years in prison. The government paid you $20.67 an ounce. Once they had all the gold, they immediately raised the price to $35 an ounce, instantly devaluing everyone's paper money and making the government rich. It was the greatest wealth heist in American history. I see a lot of people saying that they're going to do this again, that a revaluation of gold is now coming. And I think that's going to happen as well. But this also, they also say that this is how they're going to take your XRP from you. They're not coming for your XRP. However, if gold could be revalued, why can't XRP be valued by the banks? Get a set price from the banks. You got to remember, it's built to move anything of value. It's also built to move the digital dollar to the digital euro. It's like a conversion tool, it's a bridge currency. And that always made me wonder about the price glitches. Why is it that XRP has all the price glitches? What are they hiding? And you see the AI overview. Yes, XRP has a notorious history of experiencing unusual price glitches and flash spikes on various crypto exchanges, often displaying wildly inaccurate high or low figures. I always said that's them testing it out in the background. And I still believe that's what those glitches are. One day you're going to wake up and that's going to be the price of XRP. Very few people can beat the simple buy and hold, which is what I do. That comes from CZ Binance. You know, most people think that they're going to sell at one price and buy back in at a lower price when it comes to XRP. Other people like to trade crypto as well. But I think this market changed a lot of people's outlook on trading in crypto because this cycle has been so unpredictable. The market's showing you that it's about to break out, but then it ends up breaking down time and time again. And I think a lot of that has to do with price manipulation as well. But all you really have to do is just buy and hold, nothing else, and just wait for it to happen. This comes from Paul Barron. Asset manager Grayscale has filed with the SEC for a spot BNB ETF. The Grayscale BNB Trust that would trade on the NASDAQ under the ticker GBNB. And Paul Barron says, this will be where the real winner shows its stripes. XRP ETF will outperform the BNB ETF, winning the institutional war. I think XRP ETFs are going to outperform the BNB ETFs. I could pretty much call that already, but let's see how it all plays out. And this comes from Smoke, the current state of global crypto regulations as of January 2026. And you see the US right here. We're still waiting on regulatory framework. But look at the EU. They're already ready to go, as well as a lot of other areas, a lot of other countries. The US is still lagging behind without regulations. That's what's going on. But once we get regulations in all these countries, it's going to make cross-border payments so much easier. It's going to clear the way for cross-border payments. And this is what Charles Hoskinson had to say about the crypto bill. This is the latest. Take a listen.
The Democrats have said crypto equals Trump equals corruption. They're publishing report after report saying of how corrupt this whole thing is. They're running in 2026 against crypto. They're not magically going to be pro-crypto now. And any Democrat administration that comes in is going to be neutral to negative with crypto. And they're going to have the Clarity Act, if it passes, as a weaponized tool that they can use for their Securities Exchange Commission to basically attack the entire industry as a referendum. And it's not something that should have happened. It's one of the reasons why we didn't have the bull market. We could have had it if we had a bipartisan process. We could have passed a law last year in a non-controversial way.
So what do you think? You think Charles is right? You think they're going to weaponize the Clarity Act? Here's my thoughts on this. I know the Democrats are not all of a sudden going to become pro-crypto. You got to remember, they led the crypto crackdown until we got this new administration. And any one of them that are trying to now shift it over to them being pro-crypto, I think they're just looking for the crypto vote. It's the same reason that they're always writing letters to the SEC, wondering why they're dropping cases like this one right here. SEC drops lawsuit against Gemini Crypto Exchange. The SEC has dropped so many cases already, and now they want to look into why that's happening. And they're trying to tie it back to the president. They're saying the US and the SEC is now paid to play. And they're going to use that in the midterms to try to win the midterms. If they win it, you could bet nothing's going to happen for crypto anytime soon. In fact, I would not expect any kind of regulations to get put in place if the Democrats capture the midterms. We need to get something in place before the midterms. And you would think that Democratic politicians, they would want to get the market structure bill in place, get it out of the way going into the midterms. This way they could argue about something totally different instead of even bringing up crypto at all. But it all comes down to what happens over the next couple of weeks. If we get that government shutdown, it's not going to look good going forward. Then they're going to say they're rushing to get things done again. Calling the bottom now. The crypto super cycle starts in 2026. So is this now the bottom? Nobody really knows. Everybody's still guessing. Everybody wants to be the guy who called it right. But when you look around and you look at how real world events impacted crypto throughout this cycle, how it was delay after delay, you wake up Monday morning and the crypto space is dumping out. And then over Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, it starts to rebound. And then again on Friday morning, they dump everything and liquidate longs and shorts week over week. It's too hard to say that the bottom is now in. And the best indicator is going to be gold really dropping in price. That's going to be the first indicator, unless something else happens first.
All right, amigos and fam and BTMers, this is the last video. I want to take the kids to the park real quick before it gets too cold. But let's run this video and then shut it down for the day. So stay warm out there, BTMers. And let's see what he's talking about real quick, and I'll be right back.
Prices the market broadly, but more importantly, a signal that we haven't gotten in decades, guys. Gives us a real clear indicator on what is about to happen. If you do like these types of videos, click that like button. If you're new to the channel, click that subscribe button as well. As right now, we're sitting at 1 degree where I'm at in the Midwest. And my wife, son, and I are getting ready to go out to San Diego here in a few days. So it'll be a good opportunity to get a break from this crazy weather. Stay safe, stay warm if you are in the middle of this. Now, silver here today hitting $110, 9.46% at the time of this recording. Absolutely insane to see this thing go parabolic as it is. For years, flooded, hated was silver. And those of you who are silver bugs know that we're buying at $20 and even lower, and just seeing silver stagnant for a long, long time. And now it's going parabolic as a precious metal. And just imagine what is going to happen with XRP, as this right now is really kind of the theme. A lot of fear out there, a lot of fear mongering, a lot of people saying it's going to drop to below $1 and never return. And I sit here and I smile and I laugh and I just look at the price of XRP and I say, what a great opportunity. If this were to drop below $1, which is not what I foresee, that would be nothing more than a panic buying opportunity for many of us that know exactly where this is going. Now, today, Reese Merrick, who works for Ripple in the Middle East, put out big, and he's the senior executive officer, put out more big news from the Middle East. Ripple is partnering with Gel Movement, the innovation arm of Riyak Bank, to advance Saudi Arabia's financial future through blockchain innovation. This is a big deal. The kingdom's visionary leadership has established Saudi Arabia as a forward-thinking global hub for digital transformation. Together with Jill, we'll explore use cases for cross-border payments, digital assets, custody, and tokenization in support of their vision. And this is Ripple's vision, is to completely cover the globe with this innovation and put RLUSD and XRP front and center of it. Now, I did a video last week on the importance of RLUSD and XRP and how they complement one another. And if you haven't seen that, check it out from last week, because I know some people still out there are a little unclear on the relationship here and how they are completely different in terms of what they do, but how they complement one another, and how RLUSD really just strengthens the use cases of XRP. But here we have it, big news out of the Middle East, and this is what continuously happens. Ripple continuously making these moves to put themselves out front and center and dominant in this space. And people FUD Ripple, and they FUD Ripple, and they'll say Ripple dumps, and that this price is never going to move because Ripple sells. Ripple sells and then uses the profits they get to innovate, to create more opportunity for Ripple, which XRP, as Brad Grindhouse, the CEO of Ripple, has said many times, XRP is the heartbeat of everything. They're pushing this tech forward, but they can't do it without a big, powerful business like Ripple. And that's what they continuously do. And they want to see XRP, make no mistake, rise more than any of us, because they're the biggest holder of XRP. So, of course, it's beneficial to them as we see the price go up. Now, right now, at the market pushed down, but eventually XRP will not rely on the market itself. XRP is a digital asset that is solving problems for trillions of stagnant capital globally, and is going to move that value. And right now, when we take a look at this week, what's going on, we've got Fed interest rate decisions coming tomorrow, Powell press conference, earnings from Microsoft, Meta, and Tesla, initial jobless claims, Apple earnings the 30th. We have US PPI inflation data, deadline for US government shutdown. This week will bring more major earnings, macro data, Fed decisions, and political risk. So this week, volatility is essentially guaranteed. What's important to remember is that volatility means nothing more than noise and distraction. All of the things that I just stated ultimately has nothing to do where XRP is going long term. And this is the year of production stage. And this is the year when we start to see implementation. And that's going to mean XRP decouples from the entire market. And I want to talk to you about something that the Fed is doing right now, and what happened in 1985, and the significance here on what we're seeing in this digital revolution. This came from bull theory. Fed is signaling yen intervention again, just like 1985. Last time, this crashed the dollar nearly, check this out, 50%. And we're seeing the dollar absolutely plummet right now. Now, in 1985, listen carefully, the US dollar had become too strong. US factories were losing business. Exports were collapsing. And trade deficits were exploding. Congress was close to putting heavy tariffs on Japan and Europe. Now, so what did the US, Japan, Germany, France, and UK do? They met in New York at the Plaza Hotel and made a deal. They agreed to deliberately weaken the dollar by directly selling dollars and buying other currencies together. They directly and purposely weakened the dollar. Now, that was the Plaza Accord, and it worked. Now, over the next 3 years, the dollar index fell almost 50%. USD, JPY moved from 260 to 120. The yen doubled in value. This was the biggest currency resets in modern history. Because when governments coordinate an FX, markets don't fight them. They follow them. That decision changed everything. A weakened dollar, listen carefully, pushed gold higher, commodities higher, non-US markets higher, asset prices higher in dollar terms. Now look at today, where we're at today. The US still runs large trade deficits. Currency imbalances are at the highest. Japan again at the center of stress, and the yen again extremely weak. That is why Plaza Accord 2.0 is even being discussed. Now, lastly, last week, the New York Fed did rate checks on USD JPY, which is the exact step taken before FX intervention. It signals willingness to sell dollars and buy in, just like in 1985. No intervention happened yet, but markets moved anyways because they remember what plaza means. If it starts again, every asset priced in dollars will skyrocket. That is exactly what is happening right now, where we are at in this digital revolution. Assets like XRP are set to absolutely explode. And it's hard to see sometimes with the volatility of the market currently. But I think we could all agree on a few things here, because as we take a look forward at a government shutdown in 5 days, gold and silver rising while the dollar is dropping fast, nations dumping bonds, in a system, a financial system that is overly stressed, in desperate need of a solution, I believe that solution is XRP. And if XRP is the solution here, what that means is a fantastic opportunity for you and I as XRP holders. Those are my thoughts and my opinions. Let me know yours in the comment section below. As always, I appreciate both your time and support, and I'll see you all in the next.
So, okay, guys. Thanks for joining. Stay warm to all the BTMers. And that was the XRP updates for today. I guess we'll hit you guys up tomorrow. Same back channel, same back time. But need to take kids outside to the park, give them a little exercise. But thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will see what happens tomorrow with the legislation and if the government funding bill happens. But as always, let's get back to the money, guys, and stay dangerous and stay warm. And we'll get through this together. See you guys soon. Peace and hair grease. It's your main man BTM signing out. Miner out.